Good morning, delivery fam, and welcome back to another episode of Breakfast with UDM on the Life of a Gig Worker podcast. Now, in this episode, as I said in the previous ride along on my UDM Earns channel, I wanted to make sure that you guys saw or reveal how much I earned on one specific catering order because I refused to reveal it in that video. But the topic of today is I want to just really help you understand how catering has changed my life. Okay. It has changed my life in ways that I never expected it to. And it's not just changing my life, it's changing many other drivers' lives as well. And surprisingly enough, it's really causing people to drop their jaws when they find out. And when I say drop their jaw, like literally being complete surprise when they hear how much more I earn versus how much they earn at their full-time job with their benefits and everything. So the point is, catering has changed my life, and it has changed many other drivers' lives. And today I will be revealing eventually what that payout was, but I got to take you through the timeline just in case you do not know how much work I have put in to get to where I'm at. So let me take you down the timeline, okay? In early 2017, I made a decision where, okay, my wife was pregnant with my first son, and I made a decision to go and find another job. I tried to find as many other jobs. I applied for other jobs. I did have a secondary job, but it's like I was trying to figure it all out because I was going to be a first-time father, and I didn't really understand what it took. But I knew I wanted to be the best father that I can be and provide for my son and yada, 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 just like every other father does, right? But it's like I didn't know what challenges I was getting ready to face. So when I went on Google and I started to search, I found Uber, I found Lyft. I didn't know what rideshare was. I didn't know how to go about doing any of that stuff. And Lyft, I signed up for Lyft, and then they invited me to some private conference meeting they were having with the first time drivers in Miami. When I arrived, please forgive me because I'm trying to remember everything, going back as far as I can with all the memories that I have, and then just delivering it to you. But just please excuse my pausing here and there. But I had this meeting with them. They were planning on opening up in Miami, and I'll never forget sitting at that table. I felt like, man, this sounds like it's gonna be easy. This sounds like, this is gonna give me the extra money I need to, take care of my son, my unborn son, right? And then they did an inspection of the vehicles that we drove to that conference. And my vehicle had a few dings. It was a Honda Civic Si. It had a few dings on the roof from flying rocks on the highway and stuff like that. And then they told me I would have to get those fixed. So when I ended up calling a body shop and stuff, I got a really high quote. I can't remember the exact number, but I just remember saying to myself, why would I spend so much money on getting these little things fixed? And I don't even know the guarantees of what I'm about to make with Lyft. So I was like, you know what? Forget that. So I went back on Google and I found something called Postmates. So I was like, what the hell is Postmates? And then learning how to deliver food. And I did Postmates for 1 week. And then I was introduced to Uber Eats. Uber Eats was more streamlined for me. And I said, well, let me go ahead and start a YouTube channel. Before I even started the YouTube channel, I went online. When I was trying to figure out what Uber Eats was, I went online to learn tips and tricks. And I realized, oh man, these videos are like a year old at that time. I'm like, damn, there's nothing updated, nothing at all. So I said, okay, I'm going to start posting videos of Uber Eats. And I did that. And back then I wasn't seeing the upfront pay. I was just seeing the time, like 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever that time was. And I learned how to work my market so well that I started making like more than I was making per day at my W-2. And when I saw that, I was like, yo, I don't think I need this W-2 anymore. Now, fast forward a little bit. My son is born. Okay. And the amount that I was being charged for his health insurance, it started off as like $400 a month. Then it started to creep higher and higher. And it maxed out to $700 a month. My paycheck was $700 every 2 weeks. During that time, it was a struggle for me. I did not feel like a father should. I didn't feel like, man, I'm gonna be able to provide the best life for my son. And I'm like, $700 every 2 weeks. When they took half my paycheck for the month, I started saying, well, damn, I'm not going to be able to take care of my son. And that feeling alone, it didn't feel good. I wanted to be able to take care of my son, raise him to be the man I know that he will be one day. And it didn't feel good. So fast forward, I started to make like $90 a day. I'll never forget when I hit my first $100 on Uber Eats. I never did rideshare. I got turned off by Lyft. But when I started to make $90 a day, I was like, yo, I'm going to have to make a decision and tell my wife, my mom, all my family that I've already made my decision and they're not going to be able to change my mind. And that decision was to leave my job and do Uber Eats full time. Of course, my wife had her doubts. My mother had her doubts. But in the end, I was posting videos on YouTube. I didn't know I would be considered an OG at some point. But I was posting videos on YouTube. I was working to get my channel monetized. And I was thinking like, okay, I'll probably get like some monetization money or ad revenue and stuff like that. And I'm like, maybe I got this little plan. We'll see how it goes. Now, $90 a day, that made me happy. Back in 2017. My son was born June 17th, 2015. Now, think about the timeline. $700 every 2 weeks. June 17th, 2015. I get into Uber, Lyft conversation, whatever. Earlier on in 2017-ish. And then I started doing Uber Eats. And I make a decision close to the end of 2017 that I'm not going to be working for the school anymore. I'm going to be working for myself, doing Uber Eats, making $90 a day. And I was happy about that. Some people will be like, in 2025, $90 a day to some people will be like, man, that ain't no money. But I'll never forget where I came from. $90 a day, I was out there all day long just to make $90. So let's fast forward some more. I had people online on YouTube that started to tell me things like, oh, have you heard of Grubhub? Grubhub this, Grubhub that. Grubhub, 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 Grubhub. Okay, I'm like, nah, I ain't doing no Grubhub. I'm sticking with my Uber Eats. I was loyal. And I said, I'm going to just stick with my Uber. Grubhub did look enticing at the time, but I was just, I'm going to stick with my Uber. Anyway, fast forward into 2018. Something happened where a lot of drivers started to sign up for Uber Eats, and my $90 a day turned into $85, then $80, then $75. And I said, I can't allow the money that I'm earning for myself independently, I cannot allow that to be the same money or less than what I was making at the school that I was working at. And at that time, I was making, I think it was $70 a day. So then I realized that a lot more drivers are in my area. So I decided to sign up for Grubhub, finally. When I signed up for Grubhub and I learned that I could reject, I don't have to accept everything. That was after the 6 weeks of me being on Grubhub. The first 6 weeks, I did 600 orders. I surprised my driver specialist so much that my driver specialist called me and said, hey, we're running a pilot in your area. I would like to have you as one of the drivers because I've never seen stats like yours before. Every driver, this has never been done. Okay. What is it? I'd like to introduce you to Grubhub for Work, which is the catering side of Grubhub. A lot of people didn't know what Grubhub for Work was, but this was like corporate deliveries. I was delivering to businesses that was ordering for their staff or whoever they were ordering for. But Grubhub for Work, it was slow as hell downtown Miami. I remember introducing it to my wife and I was so excited. I was like, yeah, I'm moving up, babe. And I was like, man, at that time, Grubhub for Work was just more like, man, I had access to driver specialists. I was being paid more by Grubhub driver specialists. I was being paid more or being contacted directly by dispatchers of Grubhub. And they were taking care of me. You know what I mean? It felt like, damn, I'm part of the team. So something happened. My driver specialists, all of them, I had 8 total, but each one started to get pulled to do something else. Or I found out that some of them got fired. I didn't know what was going on. And then the dispatchers, I still had their contact information and they were still getting in contact with me. And when they pulled one of the dispatchers, I was like, okay, something odd is happening. And I had to make a decision on what's next because the Grubhub for Work offers was coming in slower and slower and slower. And then the last conversation I had with the last dispatcher, he told me that soon they will be discontinuing Grubhub for Work. Now, at that time, Grubhub, I was doing 13-hour days. I was picking up 13 blocks of time for me to work, starting early, the earliest block, and going home at the latest block. Now, I know this story might sound long-winded, but trust me, it's a reason I'm taking you through this entire timeline and telling you how catering has changed my life. So if you need a break, take a break right here. Pause it and then come back because there's more to tell.
Oh, yeah. What time it is, D-Fam? Yeah. It's time to what? Go get your money.